Hey, what's happening? Anyway, today, or tonight rather, normally what I do is comedy bits, or sometimes I give you updates on my book, or whatever, a number of different things. But, with that being said, I'm going to do something a hair different tonight. Tonight, we're going to have story time. Remember how when you were a little kid and mommy and daddy used to tell you a story before you went to bed? Well, now that you're all grown up, mommy and daddy don't do that shit no more, do they? But since you're all grown up now, guess what? You still get story time because, see, I got my book with me, and I'm going to tell you a story out of my book, Twisted Children's Story Asylum, which is now available on Amazon. Okay? So, without any further ado, we're going to start. Okay? So, here we go. This one is called Clash of the Narcotics. Most of you know about the DEA and their fervent desire to be assholes and deprive people of drugs that they work so hard for. And as you can see, the DEA is giving them wedgies and going, nah, you can't have none. Okay? So, the DEA does have a dark secret. Most of you have probably heard of the ancient Greek gods: Zeus, Poseidon, Athena, Hades, Aphrodite, Hera, Helios, Ares. You get the idea. And how the ancient Greeks would make sacrifices to the gods. Like a goat, for instance. Turns out that the DEA does just that, but sacrifices drugs to the drug gods, confiscated from the drug addicts / dealers. Yes, the Olympian Greek gods are junkies. Addiction apparently does not give a fuck who you are. Okay. So, at this point, okay, so basically, y'all pretty much get the idea, right? The idea is pretty much all the drugs confiscated from druggies get brought over to Mount Olympus and sacrificed to the Greek gods. Like such, okay? Here's an old Korean War veteran. Then, of course, the DEA guy takes him out of his wheelchair, beats him up, and arrests him. Okay, they travel. Okay, so basically, there is the Oracle of Street Corner. Now, for those of you that don't get that, normally people buy drugs on the fucking street corner, okay? So, here's Mount Olympus, and there's the Oracle of Street Corner. And there's Zeus. I guess he's smoking crack. And there's Hera. OD'd on heroin, but she can't die because she's a goddess. And here's Poseidon on PCP. Oh, well, that's not very nice. Me send no hurricane. Oh, that's not very nice. And of course, there's him. And so forth. There's Hades on LSD, and he's saying Santa Claus. And then there's the three-headed Cerberus dog, just looking at him like he's a fucking idiot. Okay. Meanwhile, in the United States, a DEA agent was riding the winged horse, Pegasus, to a potential drug bust in Los Angeles, California. Of course, he's riding. The DEA agent thought he was going on a meth bust, but really a bath salts user in a cow costume, killing everything in sight at an office building. Now, this is kind of a parody of the Minotaur. For those of you that are not familiar with Greek mythology, there was a cow, a man who is part man, part cow, and he'd eat people. This is kind of a parody. This is a guy who's on bath salts, who is in a cow costume. Oh, speaking of which, he tore the guy's face off and tore his leg off, and he's sitting there. What's he saying? Oh, goddamn it, I'll never get that job promoted with my face eaten off. Oh. And of course, the DEA agent calls for backup, but couldn't wait, so he goes into the office. Uh-oh. I'm sorry about that. There we go. Building, and asks the boss for directions to the incident within the office. Here's the only trouble. Apparently, one of his employees, as you can plainly see, is getting a job promotion. Sucky sucky. See the text? See the guy? See the DEA agent? Okay. Goes on and on and on. Okay, so the DEA agent turns into like this He-Man person. And then the guy, the fucking guy in bath salts in the cow suit is about to fight him. And then they end up killing each other. And then 1 week later, another DEA agent is given a task by the gods. Got a call on a potential lead to bring down some drug dealers. It was one hell of a lead. This dealer was also the dreaded Overdusa, which is a kind of a parody of Medusa. Medusa in Greek mythology was the lady who had snakes for hair, and of course, you know, when you looked into her eyes, you turned to stone. But in this comic, instead of her hair being snakes, it's heroin needles. And whenever you look into her eyes, you overdose on heroin. See? Well, of course, one of the DEA agents is dressed up as a knight in shining armor and chops her head off. Ooh, ooh, ooh. See? Okay? Then there's a DEA agent beating up some hippie for drugs, and then there's the Greek god of war, Ares, smoking a joint right before battle. Okay? The end. So, a lot of these comics in this book, and in my other 3, maybe even other 4 volumes to come within the year, I'm hoping, will have these kind of really crazy stories. Now, some of them are crazier than others. This particular one is really pretty off the wall, I'm not going to lie. And some of my content makes South Park look mild-mannered. Now, South Park's some of their stuff is relatively offensive, but I think I have them beat. But I don't, it's in a different context. Rather than a TV show, it's a comic book. So before you go and buy my comic book, you should research a little bit. But I gave you story time, so now it's time for you to go to bed. Okay? So anyway, I'm not a very good storyteller, but now you pretty much know what you're dealing with in the book. There's a lot of really crazy shit, but some of it's pretty funny, especially when you sit down and actually read it. It's a lot funnier than me trying to read it to you, because obviously I'm not very good at reading out loud. I do the best I can. But anyway, thank you for watching. And thank you for sticking around for story time. You're all good citizens. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Okay? Bye-bye.